What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast, the Union Network Group. My name is Mateo, the Freight Guy. We have Travel Jacob, the Cargo Van Man, and a special guest today, Tim from Spoke Logistics, the president. And today we're going to be discussing his daily final mile routes that they have available that are dedicated for cargo and sprinter vans. And we're going to jump right into this, guys. Give you tons of information like every other episode. And let's get right into it, guys. Cameron, welcome. Jacob, and Tim. Tim, if you want to kick it off. The floor is yours, brother.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me on. We've had a lot of response from the union, from your crowd, and we got a lot of new routes and some that we're expecting to come up here in the next few weeks that we're looking to fill, and I think they're good paying opportunities.
I want to say something, Tim. A lot of people, actually, you're the first company that we have on the union that is more of a final mile dedicated route and stuff like that. Can we go along the lines of basically what these routes are about and basically what your company pretty much does?
Yeah, our customers, run daily supply routes, whether it's medical equipment or janitorial supplies, sign supplies. I mean, all kinds of work, and they're having trouble finding good people to put in their vans. Sometimes they just get really busy and don't have enough vans, right? So they're looking for great, productive workers to come in with their own vehicles and show up every day at a fixed time. So it could be 8 a.m., could be 10 a.m., could be noon. Every opportunity is different. But our drivers typically get 5 days. Some of them work 6 or 7, but typically it's 5 days a week. So you get steady income, and it's a good opportunity. And we're just delivering to our customers or patients. And it's a lot of volume. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
We just seem to be known as a reliable source for these customers, and we're getting more and more all the time.
So
awesome.
Basically a lot. That's awesome, actually. A lot of people fail to realize in the expediting industry that work may not be consistent as it's supposed to be. You have a lot of competition in the expediting world, and such as a company like yours offering dedicated routes, you get to be home every single day. You get a fixed grossly weekly pay that's guaranteed to come to you. I mean, would you rather be home every night, or would you be on the road expediting? And I think people need to be more aware about your company. Because this is definitely an opportunity that
it's the golden ticket in expediting,
yeah.
Jacob. It's the golden ticket in expediting that people talk about all the time since the beginning. When a couple years ago when we first started, and people were talking about wanting to have a dedicated lane and having to be able to be with their families every night. Because once again, like Cameron, I know he could talk about final mile. He's got tons of experience now, jetted to him since the beginning when he first started a couple years ago now as well. And being that we're where we're at in the industry with rates and with time spent on the road versus having time spent with your family, it's a huge conversation. A lot of guys still like to go to the gym after work every day, and over the road you got 15 hours to drive. You're tired by that time. So Cameron, if you want to talk to the people of the union and kind of give them a rundown on your understanding of Spoke Logistics and how it will benefit the people of the local world of expediting.
Hey man, I hope you guys are enjoying today's podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Tucker, Albin and Associates. These guys are the real deal, man. They've already helped so many of our members. Essentially, they are a commercial debt collection agency. They ensure maximum debt recovery without jeopardizing your client relationships. Now, one of the things I love about these guys, man, is it don't cost you anything unless they actually, receive money for you. So if you got past due accounts that you're waiting to get paid on, man, hit them up. You can call Tyler at 877-455-4572, extension 310, man. Tap in with them. Let's get you guys your money, man. And we'll see you back over here at the episode.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, so, for me, I started Final Mile. Like that's been my whole thing, right? I built my business out here in Phoenix. I started with like a route with like a FedEx Express type thing. So super familiar with routed work. I mean, for me, I have a family, and I didn't want to sacrifice time away from my family to be out on the road. So when I started my business, it wasn't even a question. It was just like, how can I be able to create an income for myself, provide for my family, and be able to be home every night so I can have dinner with my family, right? So that's like the benefit to doing this type of work. Now, obviously, when it comes to doing final mile, local type work compared to, when you're doing expediting over the road, there's the potential with expediting to possibly make more money on a weekly basis. And that's, I think, one of the things that entices a lot of people into expediting, but you really have to have, a real good book of business. You got to have internal brokers and people to be able to get yourself to make that money. Whereas, for me doing local final mile, being able to make 15, 16, 1700 bucks up to, I mean, typically for me, it's usually between $2,000 to $3,000 a week is where I've now built my business up to. And that's just local final mile. And so I guess, for me, it's like, the work's out there. There's companies like Spoke that are really good, that are going to give you guys some dedicated work. And it just makes life simpler. You don't have to think about where your next paycheck's coming from, where your next load's coming from. You're able to just get in, get the work done, and it's consistent, and you can build a business around that. For me, one of my companies that I do a lot of work for in terms of creating different, routes and stuff for final mile business. A lot of these guys will grow their business within the company, right? And they'll, hire drivers, and they'll, get another van, and you can grow within these type of companies like Spoke as well. And maybe Tim could speak more about that, the potential. I'm sure you guys have people that have grown their businesses within in different ways. Is that something you've seen, Tim?
Yeah, I think most of the people that come to work for us have higher aspirations, right? So they, have a great looking van and work hard and reliable, show up every day, and our customers grow to love them and rely on them, and they become part of the team, at our customers' locations. And then if we get additional route requests, a lot of times the drivers will let us know, hey, I want to buy another van. I've got a brother or sister or friend I want to put in it, and that's a way to grow your business. And I've had drivers in the past, and maybe it was too many, but I had one guy who had 20 routes with us. Started off with one route in a Sprinter van, and he ended up, I know we were paying him well over $1 million a year. And he managed, he managed drivers. He had expenses and stuff, but he was making a good amount of money, and he was staying home every night and managed the expenses and just managed the drivers, and it worked out.
Yeah. That's inspiring, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is inspiring because there's a lot of people who see the amount of potential within themselves once they start doing the work themselves. And that's the best way to learn. Like I tell people is like, start from within and see if it's for you, and see how other people will like it, and know what you're like, know the lane, know the work. So that way, when you're speaking to your drivers, you're speaking to the people that are working for you per se, that are, entering into your van, and you get a little bit of a feel for the rodeo. And there's nothing that's going to come to you and you're going to be confused about it, because you could always help them out as well. So growing within is very important too, learning the work, and you'll be able to help the drivers that are working for you as well.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Right.
It's a good way to look at it. Love that.
It's best to start the route. It's best for them to start the route and, do it for a few months, right? And become good at it. And so they can hire their drivers and train their drivers. And if somebody calls in sick, they can fill in for their drivers. And that gives us the confidence of them to give them multiple routes.
Yeah.
It's kind of
like Tim.
Like it's kind of like I started a concrete company, and I don't know nothing about concrete, and I show up to the job site and we got a man down, he's sick, and I can't fill in a spot for him now because I don't know nothing really about bow floating or cutting joints or pouring the concrete or using a buggy. I don't know nothing about that. So now I'm out here, got the customer watching us. And then it's kind of like the same thing when you're delivering medical supplies. You got to know how to handle it. And you got to, like, your van has to be up to par as well. We could also get into those requirements later. I would love to hear more about requirements for working for Spoke, because handling janitorial supplies, it still has to be clean from point A getting to point B. Medical supplies still has to be clean, all aspects. I mean, medical supplies is one of the most sterile products that you would find in this type of work, especially, you know, besides treating like reefer loads, like stuff that has to be stay cool down in vans and stuff like that as well. So I would like to cover that aspect of the business as well too, Tim, further down in the podcast.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
So Tim, let's move on to the pretty much the motivational segment. Tim, how did Spoke Logistics actually begin, and what made you decide to open up Spoke Logistics?
Well, I've been in the last mile industry as a sales rep for a really large company for about 8 years, I'd say, and give or take, and really got to understand what customers were looking for, and came to understand how the companies I was working for didn't address those needs, weren't providing a good service, and weren't treating the employees well either, including myself. So decided one day that I was just going to start a better version of the company I work for, just be better to the customers and treat employees better, treat drivers better. And so we started about 6 years ago, April 2017. They kind of forced my hand, right? And weren't paying commissions and things like that. So started Spoke, had a couple customers that believed in me, and it's a big thing to trust. These are large companies, to trust somebody who says, "Hey, I got an idea," right? I got an idea.
Yeah.
I gave them my plan, and they said, "All right, we'll give you a couple chances. Here's a couple routes. See how you do."
Right.
And we first year we did just under.
First year you did what?
Just under $2 million in business
Go
by
ahead,
myself.
sorry.
It was just me.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But now we got 15
Very impressive.
employees.
I just want to commend you for your logo as well. The logo, I love the logo, Spoke. The whole wheel. Can you tell us where that came from, or how that came about? The idea for the logo.
Pretty random. When you're starting a company, you want to pick a name nobody has, right? And everything that seems pertaining to logistics is kind of out there. But I remember, it's funny, my brother, like 30 years ago, worked at a bike shop named it was called Spoke on the Hill in Boulder, Colorado. It's not even there anymore. That name stuck with me, and it just seemed to make a lot of sense in logistics, right? It's
I love that
hub and spoke kind of thing. So started working on
the wheel moving, whatnot. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I got a question, Tim. Tim, was it difficult for you, like you were saying earlier, you did 2 million within a year, which is amazing. But at first, was it very difficult to lock in new customers? Can you explain that process of pretty much how hard it was before things started to finally kick off for you?
Yeah. I had the two initial companies. I mean, I think, I had them for about the first 6 months, and just those two customers, but they could give me more opportunities. They had multiple locations, so that helped as they got more confidence in me. But to find new companies or new customers is hard when you don't have a long track record, right? And these employees that work for these companies, they're looking out for their own skin too, right? They're thinking, is this guy going to get me fired? If I trust this company and it doesn't work out, is that the end of me, right? So I'm lucky I was able to build a track record with a couple noticeable customers. Their names are known throughout the industry, and they were good references for me. So when I talked to somebody new, the way that it actually started taking off for me is when people would leave those customers, like they would leave those companies and go work for another company in the same industry. And they'd get there and people would say, "Hey, we need some help with drivers, or we need some delivery help." And they'd say, "Hey, I know somebody. Tim at Spoke, he helped us over at my last job, and he's solid and good reputation and always did a good job." So that's how it really grew. It's just do an awesome job. People will talk about you.
Yeah, it sounds like it was kind of like word of mouth just through those relationships you built with your previous customers. And then as they worked within other organizations, they brought your name up and they said, "Hey, this guy's the guy, we can trust him. He did solid for us." Yeah, that just goes, I guess, just to show like how important it is for you to, really put priority on your first customers, right? I know a lot of people, will tend to, kind of be looking for the next thing, right? Rather than putting all their energy into, really servicing their current customers.
What's in front of them.
Yeah, man, that's really where the focus should be. And I'm sure that doing that is what allowed you to then be able to, I guess, make the name for yourself and find more customers from there. So that's really cool.
Yeah, Tim, we just had this conversation as well. Like me, Cam, and Jacob, working with the union. A lot of people don't understand what the union network group is yet because we're just basically not even a year old. And what we do is we network drivers into an area where they have many different outlets of resource. And when people fail to realize that we are now a networking company, they fail to realize what's could be in store for them if they would actually look into the resources. So that's why we're doing these podcasts. So that way we could help guide people into those resources and see, hey, I think I'm done with over the road, or I'm done doing regional work and sleeping in the van. I'm going to clean my van out, make it look real nice. So that way I could present it to this company like Spoke, and I could get some of that final mile, daily delivery work. And, with the union, we talk about, hey, let's nourish these relationships that we have, right? These relationships that are right in front of us right now, and hopefully take those relationships and show these other companies, we might have to turn you down right now because we're filling these relationships that we have in front of us. So that way we could grow off of these relationships and they see potential within us because we are only a year old. And like you said, you did $2 million your first year. The startup went great. You had a couple companies that believed in you. And now it's inevitable what could be done for going down the road because you already kind of start getting skin in the game and proving yourself after a year, 2 years in the company with a good track record. So that was a very good point, right. Cameron and Tim. Love it.
Right.
Yeah, we've already grown more than 10 times beyond that first year. So it definitely works. And, you guys understand you understand what all these drivers are going through. You guys are drivers, man. And who better to talk about it? Who better to relate and help them with a better path?
Speaking of drivers, I got a question for you, Tim. Not so much in requirements or anything like that, but I guess if you were to speak to a driver, right, what are some of the behaviors or what are some of the expectations you would have of a driver that just makes hey, this is a really good, dependable driver. This is the guy that we want. How would you speak to those people and let them know kind of what it is that you look for in a driver?
Yeah. So first and foremost, you got to have a nice vehicle, a nice van, right? It's representing Spoke. It's representing our customers, just to look professional, and just have a positive attitude, right? Obviously, you got to show up on time and you want to work hard, but the drivers that are easy to be around and friendly to our customers and friendly to their customers and always willing to go the extra mile, no pun intended, but just do all the work that's needed. They become part of the culture of our customers. I mean, they become, one of the people that they rely on. I have drivers. So we started a little over 6 years ago. I have drivers that have been with me 6 years.
Wow.
Quite a few.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
And our customers wouldn't think of replacing them. So even if they could hire somebody, and they could buy vans and they could hire people. We might hire somebody, pay them, $17-18 an hour, whatever, and they're not going to be as good as my Spoke guy. I don't want to get rid of my Spoke driver. Yeah. And it's not because they argue every day or try to fight for little things. They pick their battles, right? If something's not fair, they'll talk about it. But otherwise, they just do their job and go home, like you said, go home at night and be able to tuck their kids in and not have to hole up somewhere in some truck stop.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got a couple of union members with Spoke actually that are signed on now. And one of the dudes I seen.
Shout out to you guys, man.
Yeah, he was
joining Spoke. I love it.
He's like, Jacob, I love this, man. I get to be home every night. I'm happy. I got consistent work. He was just saying all positive things. Because I tell the members, keep in touch with me. I want to know your progress and how things are going. So we're starting to see union members take advantage of this opportunity, which is great. And that leads me to the next segment, what Mateo was saying earlier. Let's pretend I was a driver. Can you walk me through the task that I'll be performing and doing on a route?
Sure. Well, I'll start with say it's a medical equipment, right? So it's durable medical equipment route. And the start time's 8:00. You know, you come in and you have a route assigned to you, right? So most of our drivers will get an iPad or an iPhone or something with the routes on them, preloaded. You know, basically, you go to the warehouse, they have the equipment ready for you to load. It's all staged typically. Just load it up. You want to load your last stops first stops last. You know,
Yep.
and you got in the way you load in medical equipment is you try to put all your clean stuff on one side of the van because you're gonna have to pick stuff up too, right? So you go to somebody's house and you're could be delivering beds or oxygen or wheelchairs or walkers, and beds are like they come apart in like 5 pieces, so it's small. It's not like a big bed. You carry 5 little pieces in, you snap it together, and you got a bed. But
Gotcha.
you want to keep the clean ones on one side of the van because if you got to pick one up, you know, you don't want dirty stuff contaminating the clean stuff, like you mentioned earlier. You know, germ. You know, you got to keep it sterile. So, yeah. So basically, you might get 20, 25 stops, and you know, I've done routes myself, so I know I've jumped in a van and done it many times. You know, the first 3
I was going to
stops
ask that question.
Yeah, no, you know, when I started, man, it was just me. So somebody called in sick or somebody broke down on the road, I'd jump in my van and go do the route. So here locally in Southern California, I've met with customers wearing a suit, you know, and had them say, hey, the spoke driver broke down. And I said, I'll be back in half an hour, go rent a Ryder truck and go deliver medical equipment wearing a suit and tie, you know, which is
Get the
a little
job
odd.
done.
They probably didn't expect that. You know, to go to somebody's
Right.
house and like, who are you, man?
How many
Love
miles
it, man.
typically? How many miles typically are these drivers traveling locally per day?
You know, it varies by area, right? So in Orange County, California, you know, where I've done routes, you might do 70 miles and do 20 stops, right? So
Gotcha.
a lot of density, but you know, you get in the countryside, you know, you can different states where you got a lot of open area, you might do 150 miles a day, right? But for the daily rate we pay people, we only expect them to do 600 miles a week. So if you go past that, we pay extra for that. And,
Right.
Nice.
So,
Mhm.
and that's how, you know, it's on a weekly basis. So that's how we compensate people that have to do a lot of miles, you know, and our customers know that. And if they need you to go, you know, there's parts of Texas, you know, you get outside of Dallas where you got some miles to
Oh yeah.
haul.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of union members that are kind of like they really want this dedicated work, and I've been seeing places requests such as Chicago, Florida, the whole Dallas state. I mean, not Dallas state, the whole Texas state. Do you have any idea if you're ever going to get these opportunities in those locations for these owner operators?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we get new opportunities all the time. Like I'm looking at our board now, and it's like Honolulu, Hawaii. I know that's not Texas or what you mentioned, but this just popped
What?
up.
Wow.
And I've got drivers in Honolulu already doing routes, so this is another opportunity. Upstate New York, Auburn, I see. You know, we got opportunities in New Mexico, Santa Fe, but Texas is a big. We have a lot of drivers there, and we have a lot of national customers. So tomorrow I could get 3 routes there, right? The other thing I'm doing too is I'm focusing on those areas. When I see a lot of people from the union coming to our website and signing up with us, and I see there's a bunch of people in Florida and Texas and Atlanta area, I'm actually calling my customers and I'm saying, hey, we have some good candidates. We got numbers in these areas. You need some help. And I'm calling companies in those areas that I maybe hadn't even worked with before that are in these industries. And when I call them, they'll say, you know, maybe they've never heard of Spoke. But when I talk to them and I tell them all the customers we do have, all the big names we do have, my understanding of their industry and how I know what they're looking for, they're like, hey, yeah, you know what? We can use some help. So I am actively calling those areas where I see a lot of union people that are available.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And you know, I tell you guys all the time in the union, even if you don't see your route available that I'm posting, still apply at the website on Spoke's website that says drive with us. So that way we can get a lot of demand. You're in the system and it shows we got numbers in those areas, the request from a potential customer, and finally get you guys moving. So it's very important.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you guys that be in the system,
Yeah.
be in the database, and you'll be the first one to get a call if something does come up.
Yeah, because essentially once they have you in the system and a route pops up, like Jacob's saying, they basically refer back to those to that list of people in those cities or whatever that was requested or wherever you're located. And another one of my questions too was going back to the van, right? What are some of the requirements of a van? Like myself right now, I'm in a 2023 Sprinter, high roof, extended. It's 190 inches of cargo space. It's obviously clean. There's not much that's been in here that has dirtied it. Obviously, this is up to par for medical work. Let me ask you: there's some people who buy used vans that want to pay them off right away, and they still want to do this kind of work. What are some of the requirements that could either help them get into the spoke or kind of keep them from not getting in?
Well, the van appearance, right? I mean, what we're looking for are vans that are not passenger vans that are converted. There's a lot of that out there where people, get a passenger van with windows on the side and they take the seats out. There's usually not as much cargo space in those. They don't look professional. So what you have is perfect, but it doesn't have to be as late model, but keep it clean. Make sure that there's no dents in it and things like that. Stay up on that. You'll get far more opportunities. You just keep your van clean and keep it looking good. High roof. If somebody was going to go buy a van today, I'd say you're silly not to buy a high roof if you can, because it's usually a little bit more money, but you'll make it all back. You'll make it back. I mean, more customers are looking for that extra space. They'll pay more for it.
Awesome. And now, as far as reporting to the company, the condition of their van, is there a certain way they have to do that, like send pictures in before they do their routes or weekly update pictures, or because I'm not sure how big of a deal it is, but I do know that it's important that you guys are on top of these drivers and managing the stability of the cleanliness of the van. So you talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So by the way, you guys have sent a lot of people to our website, and so I had to hire a couple extra people to keep up with it, but which is great, right? But
let's go, Union.
We do have people now to respond to everybody that comes to our website. Fills out our Drive With Us little questionnaire we have. It's pretty quick, and we're calling the drivers and saying, hey, can you send us a picture of your vehicle? Email us a picture inside out, so we have that on our tracking system. So when we get opportunities, we can go right to, say it's in Dallas, we can pull up all the candidates we have for Dallas, look at their vehicles, and start calling, and maybe you've already found something and you're not available. We'll start calling the candidates with the nicest vehicles first. And
nice.
Yeah, so we usually ask people to just send in photos.
Nice.
There's actually a few questions that I struggle with to answer in the Union page to group members. One regarding insurance. So if they're working locally, is there a special requirement on insurance that they're going to need to be required? And also, are you guys want someone with a clean background as well? No prior history, just a clean record, no prior history of any activity or
criminal charges or traffic.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to say it in a nice way. Yeah.
So
yeah,
we do
it's a podcast. We can let it out.
We have to. Yeah, we do a criminal background check. We go back 7 years.
Okay.
Felonies are, those are usually disqualifying, but others, misdemeanors and things. It just depends on what it is and how many of them you have and that kind of thing. But and then we do a motor vehicle check. You can't have reckless drivings, drunk drivings, things like that. I mean, everybody makes mistakes and it kind of sucks, but it's tough to get insurance for our insurance because we have a policy on top of what the drivers have.
Right.
So, and our customers don't want that extra liability. So keep your records clean.
What is the driver's policy that you guys want them to have when they go into this?
Yeah. So our drivers have commercial liability, $1 million per occurrence, $2 million aggregate. It's pretty common. It's pretty standard. Most companies have these policies. Commercial auto liability is $300K. Occupational accidental insurance, which is like basically Just like workers' comp for employees, but you have to have your own coverage if you get injured, that your medical bills are going to be paid. And that's readily available as well. Plus, we have a company that we work with that can provide that policy. It's usually a few bucks a week, I think, is what it comes out to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's not that much for the
driver.
Occupational accidental insurance. Yeah. So
do you guys use Open Force?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they provide
exactly.
it. Yeah. Open Force offers it to drivers. They offer a lot of services, a lot of things that you think to yourself, oh, where do I get that? They can help. They help the drivers a lot.
No, yeah, Open Force is great. I know, obviously, like the time from onboarding, it takes a little while with them, but they offer so many amazing things to help out that transition, like you said, with insurance and stuff. So, yeah, I'm super familiar with open source, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice, awesome. It's a really good point. This is basically our segment, our first segment with Tim. We're definitely gonna be welcoming him onto the podcast again. The president of Spoke Logistics, the cargo van man, and Travel Jacob, me, Mateo, the freight guy. We're going to kind of just leave it to where we have another segment. If you guys are all down with that, we'll do like a part 2 with Spoke Logistics, and we'll get some questions going, drop it in the union. I know a lot of people love asking questions about this because a lot of people are craving this type of work. And I just want to say we loved having you on, Tim. And if there's anything else you want to cover, we still got time 100% if you want to drop anything in this podcast, Cam, Jacob.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, for everybody that's listening, hey.
Tim's a busy man.
Yeah.
He's busy.
It's $1 million man right there.
For everybody that's listening, Spoke Logistics will also be a sponsor on this podcast, so you guys can stay tuned. Obviously, you'll be able to find a lot of information about Spoke within our group, but weekly, even if Tim is not on here, we'll be updating you guys on this podcast with new routes that are going to be available. So just stay tuned every week when you're coming in for new episodes. We'll have new routes and updates available for you guys here. It'll also be available on our website when we launch that. And then, of course, in the actual Facebook group, you can always find out more info about what's up and coming with Spoke.
Yeah, this is our right-hand company to the union. So, Tim, thank you for believing in us and sponsoring our podcast and spending time on the phone with us. And you're definitely somebody that we see having a long relationship with. And so that way we could guide these drivers to where they want to be and have very transparent, open opportunities. And yeah, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I would just add that we're going to send you guys daily updates on our routes, and I know we have been already. So I would encourage everybody to.
Did I hear free merch? You're going to send us free merchandise? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, actually, we'll get your sizes for sure.
A driver pulls up and we got like a medical bed. He's like, "Hey, I sent you all you guys medical beds."
But yeah, no, I would love a shirt for sure, especially for like our podcast, little ad segments or whatever. I would love to be rocking your guys' shirt in that.
Definitely.
Have your attire on while I'm letting everybody know about updates on your guys' route. So yeah, man, appreciate that. Jacob,
yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah,
we'll do something cool like this just in Spoke Logistics, and then boom, 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 all the routes pop up.
Yeah.
Be creative.
So union members, this goes out to you guys. I will make sure to update you guys on the new routes that are come in. I'm definitely making sure that I'm posting every single day, like Monday through Friday, weekends off. So any new opportunities, I'll let you guys definitely know in the post that I'm posting. So that way you guys can get, something might pop up. You never know. We've been seeing all types of different areas come up. We're seeing union members getting hired. So this is excellent news. And Tim, man, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a super busy guy, but it's definitely a huge privilege to talk to someone like you, Tim. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, guys, it's been fun. Love your guys' work, and like I said, you have a lot of followers, no doubt, which is commendable, man. That's how we started our business, right? Just doing a good job, and you guys obviously know the business, so people are going to keep following you. And we'll just keep sending you all the opportunities, Jacob. I think you'll be looking for something like Rochester, New York in the next day or two. We got some stuff in Minnesota that should be hitting. So every day we get new opportunities, and we're digging for more.
Awesome.
All right, gentlemen.
Keep it up, guys.
3. Let's clap it up. Episode 3.
All right, guys.
All righty, guys.
All right, I'll see you guys. Everyone have a good one.
We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
All right, take care.